This is Meltdown Live, presented by MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag for double your initial deposit. You sign on to make a deposit, they double it with code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag.
Welcome in, everybody. This is the Meltdown, and we are broadcasting live from the Culver studio on another Monday edition of the show. Thrilled to have you on board for the next hour or so as we traverse the pop culture campfire. I am Tim Melton, and make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We want to make sure we end up in your life. Hitting that little notification bell will let you know when we go live. Joining me here in studio today is the one and only E.G., who's coming off of a birthday celebration.
Nice.
How was the birthday weekend? Anything fun?
It was fabulous. It was kind of low key, which I appreciated. Dinner with the family, with my grandma, a brunch, and then big game, obviously, on Saturday that we watched. But it was one of those birthdays where it's hitting me that I'm no longer in college and I'm no longer surrounded by all my friends, if you will. And so I don't know what age birthdays changed for you, but I feel like this was one of those like transition birthdays where it went from big events to, yeah, dinner with the family.
That's the most depressing answer you've ever given to any question here on the show ever. The transition birthday into
Yeah,
adulthood
a
or
little
whatever. It's
bit,
like,
and, I mean, I shared, on Friday that we'll be celebrating this weekend at TVC Sawgrass. That's what we do for my birthday every year. It's a very low stress, fun event, but it was one of those realizations that the day of my birthday was like, "Wow, like, this is kinda different."
how long have you been out of college?
A year,
And
eh
and this weekend was the realization that you're no longer
yeah.
in college? I mean, I appreciate your
Yeah,
honesty.
I'm being honest with you guys. Monday, sharing my feelings.
I'm
It
just
doesn't
m
happen
I'm
often.
more concerned today than I was definitely last week.
Well, we all get old.
Oh, gosh, I feel like I'm watching Diane Lane's Under the Tuscan Sun, and,
We only have 6 copies of it.
that's true. And I've yet to put one of those in my DVD player, but anyway, we're working on that. Well, EG, thank you for that update.
You're welcome.
You went away as the young, vibrant EG. You came back as
Sage
Angela Lansbury.
sage wisdom. I'm
Yes.
not often vulnerable, and I wanted to share my feelings with you guys.
Not putting that down. I just was not expecting it. You know, I just had a moment where I thought about life and the way that the trees grow, and I'm like, what is this? I was just like,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
Seasons come and go. Already to spring. Where does the time
maybe you
really
went to a
go?
TGI Fridays or something and had them sing to you while you blew out a brownie with a candle in it.
No, I had a red velvet cake, though.
I love red velvet cake.
Me too.
I mean, red velvet cake is awesome. This
So
was
good.
like a war we had on best desserts draft of whether or not it should be considered a form of chocolate cake.
Oh, I
Remember
remember
that?
that.
Every draft with you was war. Every draft with you.
It was, and I can own that now that that's, like, in the rearview mirror of the meltdown history.
Now that you're older and wiser,
Yeah.
more mature,
In my old age of 24, I do understand looking back. I tried to perhaps swindle the system.
we didn't on Friday give it the proper credit it deserves, but Smuff is a loyal Meltdonian member of the chat here, and I just want to once again throw out how appreciative we are
Wow.
that Smuff is a member, and we want to give him a big round of applause.
Yes,
Good
go
stuff.
Smuff. Thank you. I
Tyler, are you
appreciate
happy
that.
about that development?
Yeah, you haven't introduced me yet, so I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to yet. Let's go to Hunter. Hunter, how are you, man?
Good,
I
how
want
are
to
you?
congratulate you. There's some
Okay.
big things going on in the bussy landscape.
There is.
And I think it's safe to go right into my congratulations for the first episode of Bubba on the
Mhm.
Lake has
It
dropped.
has.
This past weekend, it debuted, what, 24 hours? Something like that?
Yeah, we've had a lot of positive responses. It's
It's-
overwhelmingly
it-
positive, so we're very, very happy.
for those that don't know, Hunter's dad is Bill Bubba Bussy.
Mhm.
And there has been a clamoring for what is Bubba going to do next.
Mhm.
And now we know Bubba on the Lake is
Oh, yeah.
officially out there. I have listened to episode 1. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Really
Okay.
thought it was great.
Okay.
So it can be really daunting to get that first episode out because you feel like it's the make or break moment
Yeah.
for the future of the channel.
Yeah.
You're looking at me.
Yeah,
Yeah. But it's not. It's
No.
just the first hello again.
it is.
And then after that, you're judged on your consistency.
Yeah.
So, congratulations to your entire team there making that happen and to your dad, because I know there's been a clamoring to see him back in the limelight hear his voice again, and it felt very reassuring. And he just picked up right where he left off.
I
I mean,
know.
he just went right for it.
I know. I couldn't be more prouder of him. Seriously, it's like it was like one of those situations where the show ended, and it was not like a goodbye. It was more of a see you soon type of thing, and no one really felt like that until today.
Mm.
If that makes sense.
Mhm.
So it's one of those things where everything kind of culminated. The hype was there. We finally dropped it. That weight is off of our shoulders. That it's out there now. We know what everyone thinks now. So we still got a lot of episodes to go, but
Absolutely.
first one was pretty good for what it was. So
Really, really enjoyed it. Thought it was really well produced and look forward to seeing more of that podcast as you get more episodes out there. The first one's always the toughest.
It is.
And then it should get a little bit easier as it goes along. So that's good stuff there, Hunter. We appreciate you stopping by
yeah,
and being here today as a part of our panel discussion because I've got to introduce the star of the show next.
We have to.
We have to. We have to get to it. It is the one, the only. Tyler Lionel Johns here with, look at this round of applause. We saved the best for last, Tyler. That's the plan here on the Meltdown. And I don't want to hesitate at all getting into how you spent your weekend with a little Meltdown countdown. That's exactly what I want to get into.
Oh man. It was a long weekend.
It was a long weekend. Tyler put in a lot of legwork and hit the Cineplex so you don't have to, which I think is the reverse of the way Hollywood probably wants things to go. But Tyler went and consumed almost everything, literally almost everything, except for what are the three things you left out?
So there were a total of 8 movies that released this weekend. And if you're thinking, what, 8 movies released? I might have only heard of 2. You'd be correct. There was a lot of slop that you haven't heard of, and some hidden gems here and there, but also just some stuff I didn't even want to take the time to go see. There is a family movie called Night of the Zoopocalypse, which is a cartoon about zoo animals becoming zombies. I said, no, thank you. I'm good.
E.G. used to watch family movies, but she's now a distinguished woman.
I am. Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
she watches Casino Royale.
I'm convinced someone has body swapped with E.G., and this isn't the real E.G. I'm going to have to do a test at some point.
Well, Dunaway thinks I'm AI, so is there a real version of me? We don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, sorry, Tyler, that E.G.'s hogging your spotlight.
It's
I do
okay.
this.
Dunaway also thinks she's a Rachel Maddow.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
What?
thank you, Lionel, for
Tyler,
bringing that up.
you just pulled the pin on a hand grenade and threw it in the middle of the room, right?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
You enjoy that?
I cooked it. I waited, and I was like, 1, 2, 3. All right, there we go.
Let's really quick put the camera on E.G. Put the camera on E.G. Okay? I just want to get this out there loud and clear. E.G. does not look like Rachel Maddow.
Thank you.
Okay?
No,
Are we?
I
Thank
mean,
you.
I thought that was obvious, but
Can we put that rumor to bed or that analysis to bed? Can we do that?
Analysis to
Yeah.
be better.
Rumor analysis.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm not stating you are indeed the real EG yet. I'm not there yet, but I am 100% saying you don't look like Rachel Maddow.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on. Tyler, what else?
Revived.
What else did you not see?
so I also did not see a movie called, I believe, There's Still Tomorrow. It's an Italian movie, and it had pretty limited show times, and it's also in Italian,
Oof.
and I have no idea what it's about, so I skipped it.
You thought about seeing it, but you went, there's always tomorrow.
beat me to it. Yeah, I was right there.
Okay, let's move on to.
All right. And the last thing I didn't go see was a new Angel Studios release called Rule Breakers, and I'm honestly debating on boycotting Angel Studios movies from this point forward. Not necessarily for any political reasons. I think it's actually cool that they're trying to create this sort of parallel studio system, but my main issue is that the movies are all dog water, and they still try and get you to buy more tickets at the end of the movie, and it's just very frustrating because here recently we've seen a growing sentiment in not wanting movies to be so political, and I can understand that, but Angel Studios is just a grift. It is everything that the people who don't want all of the politics injected into their movies complain about, but in the opposite direction.
I mean, there is no guarantee that the tickets you purchase in their Pay It Forward program actually go to people seeing the movie.
Correct.
It's really just because it says even in there, like, this could be used to fund future projects. Like, that's part
Yes.
of the disclaimer. So, I mean, the studio is trying to kind of blow up the system, the current
Yeah.
Hollywood model. So, you kind of respect them for that, but they're doing it in a way that is pushing more people, I guess, to the sidelines and
If the
bringing them in.
content was good, I would feel differently
Yeah.
about it, but it just hasn't been. And I've given every one of their movies a try,
Yeah.
and they've all sucked.
Okay. Well, if Tyler's boycotting your studio, you're doing something wrong because he sees almost everything, including these 5 things that make up the Meltdown Countdown. These are the 5 things that Tyler saw this week that are new, and he's ranked them from what he thinks is weakest to strongest. Where are we starting with number 5?
Number 5, a movie I was not exactly looking forward to, but hoping I would get some good fun out of. In the Lost Lands, starring Dave Bautista and Mila Jovovich. It's directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who also directed such classics as 1995's Mortal Kombat
Mm,
and the Resident Evil films. So
mm.
I was just expecting some stupid fun action sequences, and those are there, but the plot is like non-existent in this movie. I could not tell you for the life of me what this movie was about. There's a witch, there's a post-apocalyptic city, and Dave Batista's got a bunch of scars on his face.
I thought at one point you were going to say there's a Pokemon, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's a twist. But
There was some stuff that kind of
um,
looked like it could be there was a bad guy that kind of looked like a pseudo Wudo.
I really like Dave Batista in Army of the Dead, which came out on Netflix a few years ago.
Huh. I never saw that one. I saw Army of Darkness.
Yeah, no, this was Army of the Dead, directed by Zack Snyder. So
Hmm.
Dave Batista in really kind of dumbed down, kill everything on the screen type movies. So far, he's 1 for 1 with me in that genre. This sounds like you would be 1 for 2 though, because it doesn't sound like you were very high on it. Worst thing you saw this weekend.
Yeah, it's just awful. It doesn't look very good, but I was hoping for a turn your brain off action movie. Um and it just doesn't make any sense. And I was so frustrated walking out of the movie because I thought, am I going to have to see this again to actually properly review it? Because I don't even know if I can tell you
Yeah,
what this movie is about. Like,
right.
I must have missed something, right? So I look up some reviews, and all of them, the top line is, "This is an incoherent, nonsensical mess." It's like, okay, I'm not crazy. This is just a bad movie.
And so you will not be seeing it again.
I will not be seeing it again. Turns out my review was accurate.
That's,
Moving on, number 4,
yep.
another movie I was looking forward to because of its star, and that is Amanda Seyfried's Seven Veils. This movie is about an opera director who is dealing with some trauma from her past as she is trying to put on a production of her mentor's most famous work. I didn't know that going in. If I did, I probably would have skipped it. I just kind of went in because Amanda Seyfried was on the poster, and I like her. And the only reason this is ahead of in the Lost Lands is because I can actually tell you what this movie is about. Um, the script was pretty weak, but Amanda Seyfried was pretty solid. But she just can't save it. Script is just too bad. Moving on, number 3, a movie I caught last night, Queen of the Ring. This stars Emily Bett Rickards, also has Walton Goggins pop up in it. And it is a biopic on one of wrestling's first female wrestlers, lady wrestlers, as they called them, Mildred Burke.
Mildred.
Yes,
This
Mildred.
reminds me of
Very, very 40s and 50s biopic here.
this reminds me of the quote from Anchorman that Champ Kind says, where it's Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady. And they called them lady wrestlers there in the 70s. So that's interesting.
Yep. This just tells the story of how she came up and became a popular lady wrestler and got that ban lifted from several states because it used to be illegal for women to wrestle each other. You could have male wrestling leagues. You could even have like a carnival sort of area where you got a strong woman in the center, and then dudes try to pin her for like a prize sum of money. But women wrestling was completely illegal.
Okay.
Uh Generic story, but solid performances overall. If you're into the wrestling biopic sort of thing, I would give it a recommendation.
Did anybody in here ever watch the television series Glow on Netflix? The Mark Maron female wrestling series?
I
Nope.
can, like, see it in my mind's eye, the promo for it.
Okay.
I never watched it. Not that that helps, but
No, that was great. Let's move on to number 2.
Glad we know your third eye is open, EG.
Yeah. Move on to number
Uh,
2.
Number two, a horror movie. Y'all know I love my horror. It's The Rule of Jenny Penn. This is a psychological horror starring John Lithgow and Jeffrey Rush, and it is centered around a judge who gets sent to a nursing home after a stroke. He arrives at the nursing home and he finds out that there is another resident there, played by John Lithgow, who just goes around abusing the other residents with this puppet.
what?
He's it's
Wait, this is
What?
number 2 on your list? What? This is
it,
crazy.
This
yeah.
is
So I had no idea what this was going into it. I was just like, "Oh, John Lithgow, sweet,"
oh my
and actually a really solid psychological horror. It doesn't really show much of anything. It's very low key, but it just feels very tense and claustrophobic with the shots through these very narrow, dimly lit hallways. I always find that that sort of hospital lighting just feels very eerie, and so you've got that the entire movie.
Do y'all get freaked out by going into medical facilities, hospitals, nursing homes,
How
any of
No.
about
those things?
at night?
Okay, Hunter's shaking his head violently yes. Let's go to Hunter.
Let me see that nod.
Yes.
What is it about hospitals that freak you out the most? And do you think you could spend overnight for $100,000 in an abandoned, spooky ghost hospital?
No.
Okay.
No. And in fact, I work at a medical facility too.
Yeah.
So
Well, sounds like you picked the right career path there, Hunter.
yeah.
Sounds like it worked out.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's now move on to number 1. This is the best thing that Tyler saw this weekend, and I would have to think it's also the movie that is the biggest release of the weekend.
Mickey 17, you knew it. Um, it's probably the only movie that anybody's really heard of that was releasing this past weekend. Because it's directed by Bong Joon-ho and stars Robert Pattinson. I thought this was really solid. This is a good sort of goofy sci-fi
Did that on purpose.
dark comedy.
No one knew what happened, but EG
Oh.
just dropped a bottle in the studio while
Yeah,
Tyler was
sorry.
giving his presentation. She then apologized, which now she has to apologize about apologizing because Tyler was on a run and it has now been disrupted. Not your best day, EG.
Apparently not.
24 is not treating you too well here.
I placed the bottle on the ground on purpose, but I honestly preemptively thought that Lionel would, like
Attack you?
Yeah,
And then you
so
attacked yourself, and now here we are.
No, I was trying to keep going, and then you just completely interrupted the
You're
whole
right, I
thing
did.
by saying, "Oh, I dropped it
No,
on
no,
purpose."
no, yeah, I said I meant to do that.
Oh, all right.
Anyways, continue on with Mickey 17.
Tyler, I
Very
apologize.
solid.
On behalf of EG, I apologize. Please continue.
All right, let me regain
Oh,
myself. I'm sorry. It's a really solid sci-fi. Not much action in it. Don't go into this movie expecting a lot of running gun action. It's more dark comedy and sort of insightful commentary on Bong Joon-ho's thoughts on class and capitalism, as we've seen him do in plenty of his previous works. I don't feel like this is as good as Parasite, but it was pretty enjoyable. But I can also see this being very divisive.
So less the thing, more they live.
I don't
In
know if
terms of action to messaging quota.
I guess. Um, there's really only action at the very end of the movie. Um, But the rest of it is it's, Robert Pattinson giving a great performance.
Yeah.
He's always good with these weird sort of characters.
I'm gonna
Um,
try to see it today. This movie, I didn't feel a need to rush out to see that film. I don't think a lot of people did based on some of the numbers we're going to get into here soon. But this was on your 10 most anticipated list.
Yes.
And you've sort of disclosed like this one disappointed you in a bit, in a few ways.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll get into it more later on today and later on this week after you've seen Mickey 17. But yeah, this was, I want to say, top 5 or just outside the top 5 for my most anticipated movies of the year. And yeah, just not what I wanted from it. Um I don't want to get into too much cuz I don't want to spoil it for you, but
Sure. But thematically, you're disappointed here. It got a B cinema score, which is dreadful, awful
Mm.
for audiences. It's also at a 72% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. It has dropped down to a 78% with critics on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's all trending downwards with its critical and commercial reception. It made domestically $19.1 million this weekend. And then globally, 53.3 million. Now,
mhm.
this has a net production cost of $118 million. One of our questions today is, will this break even? In order to hit that number, it's got to hit at least 240 to 300 million after all is said and done.
Yikes.
Is this movie going to be able to basically get to 4 times where it's at in order to make that
No,
happen?
no, no. It needed Korea to carry, and they've carried, but and the American audiences aren't showing up for this one, and it's understandable after walking out of the movie because Mark Ruffalo's character is just it's pretty rough, and this movie is political, so for anyone who doesn't want any politics in their movies ever, this isn't one for you. Um, it's an oddball movie. So it'd be very weird for it
Yeah.
to make like nearly $300 million to
It's a
break
hard
even.
sell.
It's a hard sell. I think it does some of those elements well, but it's just niche. It's niche and it's divisive.
Hmm.
Did Bong Joon-ho make a mistake making this his next project after Parasite? Should he have gone a different direction? Only time will tell, but I haven't heard just absolute love and praise for this movie. And a movie designed to hit all of your sensibilities, for you to walk out going, I can see why people really don't like this one because
Oh
I
yeah.
was underwhelmed by certain aspects of it. Doesn't get me more excited to go see it, I'll
No.
tell you that.
Mark Ruffalo is really the main issue in the movie. I just wish they had I don't know if it was Bong Joon-ho that wrote that character in the way Mark Ruffalo plays him, or if Mark Ruffalo just interpreted the character that way.
Mhm.
But the direction he takes that character is it's just not the move. It feels very SNL-ish and less like is trying to create a character that can stand on its own. I mean,
Mhm.
we've got the V for Vendetta soundtrack on vinyl hanging up over there. The sort of dictator figure of the North Fire Party in that movie. I mean, it's he's his own character, even though you can compare him to different movements and ideologies. It's not a parody of one particular
Gotcha.
person.
Okay. Well, I'll go check it out and see if I share those same sort of thoughts here. I remember Poor Things with Emma Stone
Hmm.
won her another Academy Award. Mark Ruffalo, I thought, was fantastic in that movie. Thought he was really, really good and sort of stood out as being the main comedic figure of Poor Things. Got a lot of laughs. So to see him follow that up commercially with a number one movie here that's a weak number one, a soft number one, but maybe it's the sticking point here, Tyler. I'm going to check that out and see how I feel about it, and we'll reconnect tomorrow about Mickey 17. We want to remind you to connect with our dentists of choice. Yes, over at Alabama Dental Associates. Head on over to the mouth experts that we trust as we encourage you to reach out to Alabama Dental Associates, located on Grants Mill Road. Dr. Jeff, Dr. Brian, Dr. Nolan, providing you all sorts of services when it comes to staying on top of your dental health. Make sure that you are getting those regular cleanings and make sure that you're turning to the dental team that you can trust to make sure that you have a great time there. If you're new in town, need to make sure you have a dentist on standby. Reach out and try Alabama Dental Associates for yourself. A lot of people have anxiety when it comes to going to the dentist. I know Hunter doesn't like medical spaces. He would love this medical space over on Grants Mill Road at Alabama Dental Associates. For an appointment, you can call them at 205-956-8977 or visit alabamadental.com, where they look forward to seeing you. Okay, I want to get into a quick segment of physicality. As EG, we have something to mark off the board here.
Yay!
Ew.
I got a 4K copy of Ready Player One, directed by Steven Spielberg. This movie came out in 2018, and I really like this movie. We revisited it as a family this past weekend, and my daughter seems to like it. My wife did not like this at all. One bit. Did not like this whatsoever. But I'm a big fan of Ready Player One. Tons of callbacks, Easter eggs, so much replay factor, and that just visually. Hunter, you're a fan of this movie.
Love this movie. I
You
like
s-
the cover of that too.
When you see this thing fill up the screen with all the different eye candy for geeks and nerds,
Mhm.
I mean, they jam pack tons of stuff in here. And to me, it doesn't feel like a hollow experience.
Mm.
It feels rewarding each and every time you watch it,
It's for everybody too. Like it's got a little bit of everything for everyone in it.
except
Like
for my wife.
the racing scene where there's like no music at all. You just hear and see different, you see the DeLorean, you see a bunch of different cars from, Batmobiles in it from the 60s with Adam West. So
Mhm.
it's a lot of like, throwback stuff in there too that
Yeah.
I really like. So
Couple of Batman references for sure, and the main car in this is the DeLorean, kind of brought back to life, which is nice. And I really enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. Came out in 2018, grossed 137.7 million here in the United States and Canada, 469.5 million in other territories, worldwide total of 607 million. Deadline had reported that it would need to gross at least $440 million to break even, given that it had a $175 million production budget. Once again, cleared that number and made about $150 million more. So 160, 170. Let's go ahead and head to the board, EG, and let's go ahead and mark Ready Player One off of there, as I got this in its premium format. And it is ready to disappear from our board. There we go. I've had a question about the board, EG. You need to get back to a microphone, though, before I ask it. That I've had when Ush was in, we did a segment of physicality on Last Action Hero.
Yep.
And through Last Action Hero, he did a blue line instead of a red line.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And I said, EG's not going to like this, the inconsistency. However, I'm going to give you a chance here. You can either side with your Meltdown co-host or your Pennant Grace co-host on how you feel about the red line
Yeah.
not being a part of the Last Action Hero.
So I actually noticed this last week, and I noticed some creative liberty was taken with the blue line through the red font of Last Action Hero. And at first, I did not love it because it does look a little disruptive. I understand the thought process behind it in terms of the red marker that is used for Last Action Hero. And I am going to let this one slide because I do think it functionality serves a purpose to make a distinction. But I am looking forward to, Tim, and tell me when we will start this process of potentially adding some new titles to this and
Yes.
starting to erase the ones and refill those slots.
Yeah, I think we need to do that. So which way did you side again, Ush or me? I can't
I
remember. I
just
feel
like
like
a politician.
you totally took the politician
I
route.
did.
So you're not picking.
I had my answer.
EG, not your best show today. I'm just going to throw out, not your best show today.
No, I sided with you. I said I understand why because of the functionality, but I'd prefer cohesiveness. That's why I followed up with let's just erase all of it.
Okay, the whole reason I care is because the Pennant Grace is coming back.
It is, and those are our colors, red and blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do a plug.
Yes, the Pennant Grace is coming back Thursday, 12:15 Central. Please join us live. We'd love to have you. You can follow us on social media at the Pennant Grace. The Braves are back, and apparently the injuries are back too. So we'll talk about all of that. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12:15 Central.
For those that don't know, the Pennant
And check the Pennant Grace out on
Yes.
all audio platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. A lot of our Disrupt Media content is now finally available on podcast platforms in full.
Good
Thank
job,
you,
Tyler.
Lionel. Thank you,
Good
Lionel. That is that's good.
Tyler's having himself a showcase today
Yeah,
with
he
all
is.
he's presenting. So we're very happy about that. And the Pennant Grace is the show that is known as the show where you don't drop things. And it's also known as a show where y'all talk a lot of baseball. So if
Yes,
you're a
we do.
baseball fanatic, that's what the Pennant
Join
Grace
us, please. Thank you, Tim,
will
for
entail.
that.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely 100%. So happy you're here.
Thank you.
Let's one more thing I want to show off. This is Quantum of Solace on Blu-ray. Now,
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
I'm sorry, Sam.
You're right. You're right. I'm going to tell you you're right, but I'm going to tell you why you're right in a second. So, I've been going through a kick here lately with the Daniel Craig James Bond movies. Got EG to watch Casino Royale,
Yep.
which she loved.
did.
I've been trying to get Tyler to watch Skyfall. Eventually, we will be successful in that. Hunter just purchased exactly what I purchased in the Steelbooks for Casino Royale and Skyfall, which I showed off last Thursday on the show.
We actually watched Skyfall this weekend as a family.
Gosh,
Yeah.
I've been listening. There's a playlist on Spotify that is called 1 Hour of Skyfall, and it's just Adele's Skyfall on loop over and over again.
yeah.
Now, I know I could just put Skyfall on repeat.
Yeah.
But
I kind of like the idea of listening to the hour-long playlist.
Yeah.
I've been doing that, so thank you to whoever decided to do that. But I've got Quantum of Solace here on Blu-ray, and the reason I bring this in is because I thought to myself this weekend, I've got Casino Royale on 4K, I've got Skyfall on 4K. Do I want Quantum of Solace, Spectre, and No Time to Die on 4K? And I thought I would revisit the Blu-ray to try to make up my mind of whether or not I wanted to enhance my Quantum of Solace experience. And I figured out that I think I'm going to end here with just the Blu-ray because this movie is bad. It's not good.
The game is even worse.
The Quantum of Solace video game?
Oh, yeah. Did you ever play it?
No, what was it on?
I thought it
Oh.
was all right. It wasn't my
Oh.
favorite, but I liked isn't it like there's like a flashback and you flash back to Casino Royale, like something happens. I can't remember what the
I
whole
think
getup
so.
is.
I
Yeah.
start off on like a beach level, like a beach villa level.
Okay.
It's garbage.
Well, it sounds garbage. Here are the 2 discs, and I'm not mincing words today.
no.
I'm just going to be transparent about how I feel.
I like that. I did that. I started the show off with that, and we're just keeping it going.
You did. It was very vulnerable of you, and maybe you've given me the inspo to do it myself. Unfortunately, a lot of things I've said have been mean towards you, so I'm sorry
No,
that has
no,
come out.
no.
Quantum of Solace. This movie's cheeks. I'm going to tell you why. This is maybe so I've defended this movie a little bit as not being the worst in the franchise, the Daniel Craig run. I'm going to have to watch Spectre again just to make sure I feel that this is not the worst. I feel like Spectre's the worst. The editing in this movie is atrocious. I mean, I cannot tell you how poorly edited this is. Can you switch the camera like 7 ways really quick as I start to talk? Yeah, boom, boom. Okay. That's a little sample. Perfect, Tyler. Don't break it. That is exactly how this movie is edited. It is everywhere, everything, all at once. It is the action sequences, they cut every 0.3 seconds to something else in frame. It's all very close up. You can tell this is trying to be Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
This movie was produced during a writer's strike. We've talked about that before. And they did not have a working script when they started shooting this. They had sort of the bare bones of a script, but the director of this movie, Mark Forster, and Daniel Craig were writing things along the way, trying to make the most of this. Daniel Craig talked in retrospect about how the writer's strike really screwed this movie. There was also a looming actor's strike. So if they felt like if they didn't start rolling cameras, that they were going to lose a window of production altogether. So they rushed this thing. Why they felt like they couldn't wait, I don't know. It wasn't a rights dispute. There was no sort of like, we got to do this or we're going to lose the character. None of that. Daniel Craig was locked in contractually, but they felt like we're going to miss a window if we don't get this thing pushed out. And this was the result. Quantum of Solace. There's still some good, decent Bond stuff in here. There's no doubt. But I just think this is not a fun watch. It is actually quite miserable to watch. There are some people who absolutely adore and love this movie. I'm not one of those people. It's a huge step down from Casino Royale. And I think that the biggest admission as to why this movie sucks is because Skyfall absolutely blows this one out of the water when it comes out. And a lot of people had sold their stock on the Daniel Craig Bond series when this movie hit in 2008. And then Skyfall delivered because they took their time with it. They did it right. They brought in Sam Mendes. And that's where I'm going to sort of throw the baton over to Hunter because you watched Skyfall on 4K with a perfect setup, one I'm very envious of. Talk a little bit about how even having seen that movie so many times, it still blew away all your expectations sitting down watching it again.
Oh yeah, it's just like every shot in there, like the whole. I'm not trying to give anything away, but like the last 30 minutes when they're in a certain location, because it was shot on location, it had to be, is the most breathtaking like shots I've seen in
Mhm.
in a James Bond movie. Period. But the house, everything about it, love it. The I don't know if the practical effects were actually practical or not, but like some of the stuff they used were pretty sick. In there, but yeah, my 2 cents on we were talking about this last night about Quantum of Solace. The first 15, 20 minutes is the saving grace of that, and then after that it's just trash. The car chase and then the rooftop chase.
Yeah, I don't love the first 15, 20 minutes.
Because it picks up where you've seen Casino Royale, where he
Mhm.
pops the dude in the leg.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's literally where it picks up right where that leaves off. And they're chasing him because he took the dude because he's trying to I don't know what the whole setup was for that in Quantum of Solace. I can't remember off the top of my head, but like they're chasing him down because he pops Mr. White in the leg and he has that whole, James Bond moment finally in Casino Royale.
This is the rare Bond movie where they say we're going to make a direct sequel to
Yeah.
a very successful Bond movie, and we're going to pick up right where the other one left
Yeah.
off. And I think it was a mistake. And there's some double crossing, and the
Mhm.
story is not good. And
No,
the
yeah.
villain is not good. There's nothing
the-
wacky about the villain. There's none.
And
Dominic Green.
Yeah, and his purpose for like why is MI6 tore up about water supply? You know
In
what I mean?
Bolivia, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this villain wants to he wants to be able to charge more for water. This villain is basically
Yeah.
the Birmingham Water Works.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like,
no.
why is MI6
Oh,
worried about
that's
something?
actually scary. That's terrifying. I'll have to watch Skyfall
Yeah,
immediately.
the Bolivian Waterworks Board. That's what the villain of this is, and
That's the real villain.
it's very weak. But
Yeah, not only is MI6 worried about a village's water supply, so is my church, So it's
Yeah.
like, ooh, So
there you go.
yeah.
Okay, so there we have it. Quantum of Solace on Blu-ray. I will not be upgrading to 4K anytime soon. Maybe if I get a great deal on it at some point, if I'm a completionist and want the whole set in 4K, I'll do it, but not there. Can't recommend that one, EG. Quantum of Solace is a skip. Skyfall, though,
Banger.
fantastic.
So good.
So good. Casino Royale is still my favorite, but Skyfall, I mean, it's like, whew, it's so good. So good. Okay, with all that being said, it is now time for a segment that we'd like to bring back from the grave. Yes, it is Tyler's Tidbits. Tyler has collected some stories that he finds some passion in. We have no idea what he's about to unleash on us, so we're calling this Tyler's Tidbits, and hopefully he can show us all his tidbits right now.
I'm about to show you some bits. So, first off, if you're a Netflix subscriber, you got a new film this weekend. What?
Now, I'm just saying, EG and Hunter both braced the exact same way as if this was going to turn into the full Monty. Anyway, that's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, the Russo brothers, directors of Avengers Endgame, one of the most successful movies ever.
Yeah.
They've got a new film coming out on Netflix called The Electric State. Hits this weekend. It centers around an an orphaned teenager traversing the American West with a sweet but mysterious robot and an eccentric drifter in search of her younger brother. It stars Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt. I am having a
Okay.
stroke
Yeah, I was
over
about to say,
here.
you good, bro?
I was
No,
about to
I'm
say,
not. I'm dying a little bit. But
the
this
heat.
film, weirdly enough, will also
He's having a heat stroke, folks.
Tim, you talk for a second. Let me
Can I
gather myself.
can I share what I thought you were gonna say the title was? I thought it was gonna be The Electric Slide. 'Cause
For
you
some reason, I thought it was going to be an electric boogaloo when he was talking about it. Don't ask me why.
I don't know. I thought it was gonna be electric slide.
Is this thing passing over to other people to where we can't talk? It's that
It's
damn
the,
monkey.
Yeah, it's the eBay box. It's lingering in here. We're all about to pass out.
It is. I thought there was actually going to be one
No.
for a second. No, I think that monkey has affected me in poker.
I think it
Let's
has.
just get
I
rid of
actually
it.
think we need to get rid of it.
Okay.
How?
I don't
There's a
know how.
dumpster.
That's the whole point of the movie, Tim.
There's a dumpster like right behind
All
us.
right, EG, you do it.
Okay.
None of us are gonna touch
I
it.
will absolutely do it.
Let's make a deal, a truce. If one of us perishes, the others take the monkey out to the wood chipper and get rid of it.
Or, or we go get some fireworks and light that puppy.
Or just right
Yeah,
now?
we
Let's at least wait for the 4th of
Well,
July.
yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it gives us something to
Mhm.
do.
All right. Anyway, yeah, I think the monkey's screwing us all over. Anyway, tell me more about this Netflix movie,
All
Tyler.
right, let me see if I can get this. The Electric State, directed by the Russo brothers, hitting Netflix this weekend. It stars Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt in the starring roles, and also, weirdly enough, features Woody Harrelson as the voice of Mr. Peanut, the Planters mascot. You think I'm joking? No, I'm not. This has been reported by so many different sources. Planners is making custom TV spots for the Netflix release featuring Mr. Peanut's odd look here in the movie. I mean, that's just disturbing.
Woody Harrelson kind of looks like a peanut, but I wouldn't say that he should voice a peanut. I don't know. I need to hear the performance.
I've always just imagined Mr. Peanut as like a lot more posh, like the Monopoly man of peanuts. And Woody Harrelson's just kind of like, even though he's got a lot of success and fame and money now, he still feels like a common man. Like you could go out and hang with Woody Harrelson.
It's a very sad looking peanut.
It's a very sad looking peanut. He's got the big old glassy anime eyes. It's very weird. I don't know why they went with this look.
Man, that is very sad looking. Okay, well,
But let us know in the comments if you will be watching The Electric State. Will you guys be watching it?
will you be watching it?
No.
Okay. All right. So somebody watch it and let us know if we should watch it. Let's move on. Tyler, you have another tidbit
I do.
to
The
throw out
next
there on the table.
tidbit, someone we all know, John Favreau. He's got a lot of success. You would agree
Yes.
with Disney making a lot of live action animation hybrid shows. Well, he's going to be doing that again. He will be creating for Disney Plus a series based on Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Mm,
Now, if you're saying, who on earth is Oswald the Lucky Rabbit? He's actually the original Mickey Mouse. He was supposed to be the main Disney mascot, um, and then they lost the rights to Warner, or not Warner Brothers, Universal, and then had to create Mickey Mouse. So this guy was the OG. Disney spent years and years trying to get the rights back to it. It was a main goal of Bob Iger. They got the rights back in 2006. Then in 2010, they released a video game called Epic Mickey, where you could play as Mickey and Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And that was a big moment for Disney because that's where they really started pushing Oswald as a character. And he finally hit public domain in 2023. But we should expect to see this soon.
I think John Favreau is incredible.
He
I
is.
really am impressed by Favreau, not only with his directorial works, but also what he's done on screen. I think he's a very underrated best friend in any movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh
he's
yeah.
really adds a lot on screen. Hunter, I know you are a big Star Wars fan. When you look at The Mandalorian, I mean, it exists because John Favreau really put it into existence.
Mhm.
And it's one of the things that a lot of Star Wars fans actually agree on. The early first two seasons, at least, of
Yeah.
The Mandalorian, I think a lot of people were on board with this is the way. And will the movie be a success? I have no idea. But The Mandalorian was a big hit for Disney, and it's looked at as being one of the best things that Disney has produced in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. If he doesn't get the keys, man, I don't know who will, which I don't know if she's actually stepping down or not. But with Kathleen Kennedy coming out with their statements, what, last week or was it 2 weeks ago? When that happened, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
it was almost immediately after the report was put out. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'm not leaving till I'm dead, or I'm not going to stop producing films till I'm dead, but there will be a succession plan, and we're working on that.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping like they figure it out and they either give Filoni or John Favreau the keys or both make it a co-thing because they know what they're doing and they need to what's the guy's name that played the apprentice in the Force or not the Force Awakens, the Force Unleashed. like a side game. Sam
Uh,
Whitaker or something like that.
I remember the character. I can't remember his name.
I was actually about to say Sebastian Stan because of the movie
Mhm.
The Apprentice.
The
for a
Apprentice,
second, yeah.
you know. I think it's like Sam Whitaker or something like that, or Whitaker. I don't know, but yeah, him. If they can somehow incorporate him in the inner circle whenever they shift this leadership around, they might can get back on. I don't know if they. I don't know. Not a Kathleen Kennedy person, you know this.
Yeah, I know.
Even though she has a great filmography, she's just completely ran the franchise into the ground and taken away the magic of Star Wars going to the movies in December, May, you know, and she's completely taken that away because TV shows.
Forget December, May. Any month of the year.
Yeah, any month of the year, yeah.
Any month of the year, Kathleen Kennedy. Nobody trusts her leadership. The fandom was so excited to see that she'd be walking away, and now it's like, oh, not so fast. I'm still holding those keys right now, and we'll see who she dangles them in front of. Tyler, any sort of thing to clean up there with
Sam Witwer was the voice of the
Sam
main
Wit-
character
Sam
in
Witwer.
The Force Unleashed.
All right, let's move on. Any more tidbits?
Moving on,
Okay.
third tidbit. Uh, Lady Gaga was on SNL recently. She had some words for Joker 3. She
Gosh, there's going to be a Joker 3?
or oh, my bad. She had some jokes.
Psych.
I'm gonna go home.
No, I
she
was
had-
scared for a
Wait,
second.
she had some jokes? Wait. Fully ado.
Yeah, that one. All right. Lady Gaga did an opening monologue.
Caught in the foot. You're good.
Everything's falling apart today. Volley ado. She had some jokes about it. She had some jokes about the Razzies. She says, anyway, I'm an actor now. During her opening monologue, she said, I select films that would showcase my craft as a serious actor, such as Joker 2. Apparently, people thought it was awesome. Joaquin and I even got nominated for a Razzie, which is an award for one of the worst films of the year. So we won Worst On-Screen Duo. But joke's on them. I love winning things. My Razzie brings me one step closer to an EGOT. It's like an EGOT, but hurtful.
That's funny. That's a funny joke. Whoever wrote that deserves a raise because Lady Gaga, for the most part, has defended Joker Folia Do, which the steel book on that continues to drop in price. And every time I'm like, still too expensive, still too expensive. This is okay. Joker 2 was my most anticipated movie of the year. A year ago, if you ask a much younger and less wise Tim, if you ask him, what movie do you want to see right now? If you could see one, Joker 2, please. Joker 2, Joker Folia Do. I loved the 2019 Joker. All year long, I was excited about Joker Folia Do, and it should have been called Joker Folia Doo Doo because it was awful. It was something that should be on the bottom of your shoe, and it was tremendously bad. And I never want to see it again. And I've sworn to people like, hey, you're not going to like this. Don't watch it. I've had people that are like, well, I really like the first one. I probably will like the second one. And I'm like, okay. They watch it and they're like, oh my gosh, what was that? And I'm like, it's a movie made to apologize for the success of the first movie. If you really like the first one, this is like we want to destroy all the fun of the franchise in one fell swoop. And it did a good job of destroying the franchise. I'm surprised more heads to have it rolled at Warner Brothers over this. There's supposedly been a lot of contention over how big of a misfire this was. And the fact that Lady Gaga is now starting to acknowledge, like, hey, the public sentiment on this is really poor, I think is a good move because she's made really poor decisions since A Star is Born.
Yeah.
For what she's going to be in, what she's going to attach herself to. And you can't blame her personally, but she was almost, it feels like cut out of the film. Joker Folia Do.
Later in her monologue, she added, tonight I promise to act, to sing, and to not do Joker 3.
There we go.
That's where that line came from in my stumble there.
Well, I'm happy that it's confirmed now. It's full circle. There will not be a Joker 3, and I'm okay with that. There should have been a Joker 2.
It's just something that I was stuttering over.
You're good.
Alrighty, moving on. The final tidbit. There's been a lawsuit against the movie theaters in India.
Oh.
And a lot of people on social media want to see a similar movement here. A guy in Bengaluru. I think I'm saying that right. I'm probably not, though. It's okay.
I think that's a character in Bluey.
Why not? Uh, he's suing the largest theater chain in India over mental agony of watching too many advertisements, according to
Uh,
NBC. He paid $10 or 826 rupees for 3 tickets to see a war drama movie. Movie's scheduled to start at 4:05 p.m. and at 6:30, but it was delayed for about half an hour because the theater played what the plaintiff calls trailers, advertisements, and other fillers, and it caused him to miss his work appointment later for after the movie, which resulted in losses he says cannot be calculated in
oh,
terms of money.
This is a
It's like
businessman.
I could have made the biggest deal of my career,
Yeah.
but I couldn't, basically.
So, I mean, this is an important thing to get into the future of movie going and how theaters need to respond to this. Now, I personally don't have a problem with playing 20 minutes of ads and trailers beforehand because there's a lot of people who come in late
yeah.
and they don't know that there's 20 minutes. And so it's kind of a trick on them because they think, oh my gosh, I'm late for this. And they get in, they're like, oh my gosh, okay, Nicole Kidman hadn't sat down yet. We're good. And those people don't disrupt my movie. That the fact that they're late, walking around, shuffling, trying to find their seat,
Get popcorn.
pulling out the flashlight on their phone, trying to find the number on the seat. So I kind of like that there's a buffer there. I also kind of like it for if I'm ever running late or if I need to work in a showtime, like if I need to see a 3 o'clock movie after the meltdown, I know I've got basically till 3:20 to get there, get set, and enjoy the time. I got time to get to the concession stand, whatever it may be. So I kind of like the buffer. But there's a lot of people, they're punctual, they show up on time, and they get angry as all get out that the movie doesn't start exactly when it's promoted to
Yeah.
start.
I don't know why. I've never understood it. I don't know why these people can't just show up at 7:15 or 7:20. If you know there's going to be 20 minutes of ads. It says there's going to be 20 minutes of ads. I
Yeah.
get that a lot of people just can't read and refuse to read whenever there's a store or restaurant situation. Anytime they expect a service, they just stop reading, has been my experience.
Should there be two numbers given? The time that the previews and ads start and then the time that the movie starts? Or do you think that that decreases the value of those ads for advertisers that are also helping keep theaters alive?
It absolutely does. If you don't like the ads, show up later. It's that simple.
Yeah.
These advertisements are what help a lot of productions get closer to their break-even point before they're even opening night. Thanks for dropping something, Tim. EG's not alone. Um, but these
Mm.
big studios want to promote their other works that are coming out later that year or sell their trailer spots ahead of big movies they have.
Yeah.
So that way they can, like I said, get closer to that break even point.
I
Um,
mean, it really isn't very transparent. I mean, the one thing that maybe you and I disagree on is that you say that it's clearly, 20 minutes, show up at this time if you want to start the movie. It's kind of like an assumed 20 minutes, right? It's like they don't promote it as there's definitely a 20-minute thing for
have you looked? You got to look at your ticket, Tim.
the fine print.
Yeah, on the app it says like next to every showtime, please allow 20 minutes for pre-show. Next to every single showtime.
Okay.
Like it's there. Um and I know people don't like to read everything on the page
Yeah.
when they're buying tickets for stuff, buying food, whatever it is, but it's there.
Yeah.
Like they do
It's
they do
legally there.
clearly
Yeah.
explicitly say there's a 20-minute pre-show.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes that doesn't always start on the dot. I'll be real about that. Sometimes it starts a couple minutes late. It's almost like they start the pre-show advertisement to like fill the gap up until the scheduled showtime, and then that advertisement causes it to run over, and then the actual pre-show
Right.
trailers don't start until maybe 5 minutes after your scheduled showtime.
I'll end with this. When it comes to going to the theater and selling people on going to the theater, it all boils down to really one thing. Are there movies people want to see there?
Yeah.
Because this type of story comes up in the off season that previews and advertisements are getting on people's nerves. It rarely comes up when you're in summer blockbuster season because everyone is just happy to be in the air condition if it's working, and watching big, huge hit movies during their initial run. Hollywood has to bring people in this summer, or else Hollywood is going to crumble upon itself. This summer, theaters have been using the slogan survive until 25 for years now. Survive until 25, survive until 25. This summer's stacked. Will it be able to deliver the type of cushion needed to keep theaters as a part of our culture? That's what we're witnessing in the coming months. That's how important the next several months are, is that theaters themselves could just completely evaporate if people don't show up this summer. So, with all that being said, we have to sort of figure out some ways that theaters have to hold up their end of the bargain in bringing people in and giving them a good time. Because more often than not, when you go to a theater, you feel ripped off, unless you're an A-list member, and
Oh
then you
yeah,
feel like you're the one.
I don't think I've ever felt ripped off other than just like by In the Lost Lands. That movie was cheeks. I wasted my time with that one. I didn't have to spend any money.
If every time you were going to go to a theater, now in your situation it's a little bit different, but if every time you were going to have to go to a theater, you were going to have to bring 3 other people with you and make that work, how many times a month would you go?
A lot less.
Oh, and by the way, they want concessions
Oh
every time.
yeah.
So, like, how many times would you go? A whole lot less, right? The average American goes to the movie theater twice a year. The average American goes to the movie theater twice a year.
Yeah.
Tyler's averaging that a week, twice a week. Maybe that's low.
And that is low. I'm
That's
at
low.
like 3 to 4 a week.
There we go. Sorry, 3 to 4 a week. But no one knows the theater landscape more than Tyler, and there's a lot of times where you're walking through and it's a ghost town.
Oh yeah, plenty.
That's
plenty
gotta
of times.
change. That's gotta change. In order for that to change, we gotta, I almost think, get away from the whole summer blockbuster season.
Mhm.
We've gotta start having big A-list titles year round. That's the
Yeah.
only way theatrical distribution is gonna work.
Yeah, especially with certain genres, like we've seen horror movies do well any time of the year. I think that your sort of triple A big blockbuster titles will do well if you spread them out. Your Star Wars doing well around Christmas time and things like that. But I don't know why they want to stack it up and keep that traditional summer blockbuster format.
Wasn't Black Panther a February release?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Like, and it made $1 billion? I mean, it's possible. Start, we are gonna get to a situation where
Dune came out in March and made what, 800 million?
it did
Right around?
really well. The premium formats aren't gonna be able to support the barrage of movies coming out this summer.
Yes.
So,
And that'll cut into the revenue for
Yeah.
each of those big movies that you would typically expect to just completely run all of the premium formats.
and there's no competition really for Mickey 17 the next few weeks. Now, with that being said, Mickey 17 isn't a strong enough movie to make my point. But if a James Gunn Superman had come out this weekend, you're telling me it wouldn't have made over $100 million? It definitely
yeah.
would have.
Mhm.
And it wouldn't have held well for months? It definitely would have.
And everything else would have done better just because it's now let's go to the movies now. Everybody's going.
And now we're going to get Superman and the next Jurassic Park within 2 weeks of each other, and they're going to be fighting over the same premium screens. We're going to get
Fantastic
Fantastic
Four.
Four
Yeah. So
as well. So it's going to be a very cluttered mess over the summer, but it's going to hopefully generate enough to where Hollywood can get its footing and figure out how do we put quality films year round into the theater instead of having them go through these months of no fanfare for people to enjoy. So we'll continue. That's going to be an ongoing discussion here for a while, but theaters are in big trouble right now. And it's because your big headliner movie made less than $20 million this weekend domestically. And Novocaine's not going to smash records this coming up weekend. What's the movie from A24 that's coming out this weekend?
Opus, but it's been getting slaughtered.
It's been getting absolutely destroyed critically, and it's not going to bring in any money. They keep promoting Thunderbolts as being the A24 movie of Marvel.
Oh my gosh. I almost had that in Tyler's tidbits because they've been promoting, it's got the cinematographer from this A24 movie, it's got the production designer from this A24 movie, and then they also put out a trailer, and then, like, as part of the title, they had absolute cinema, like the Martin Scorsese meme.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how Martin Scorsese said, like, "Oh, Marvel movies, they aren't even real movies. They're theme park rides as movies." And people got mad, um, but in very short amount of time, I think Scorsese was kind of proven right.
Hunter, you are a Marvel fan, big Marvel fan.
Mhm.
You're really excited about Daredevil right now.
Yes.
So very excited about that. Thunderbolts, is it exciting you? Are you on board for it, even though Tyler and I feel almost forced to go see it right now?
I'm not too hyped up to see it. The
Really?
trailer, not really. The trailer didn't really give me anything that I liked. I'm more of hype about Fantastic Four, if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because it's like a main, you know. Plus, it's a story that we haven't even been told yet from the MCU perspective. So
Story we haven't been told yet in its third reboot.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the other day I was telling Tim, I was like, I am dreading Thunderbolts so much, I'd actually rather watch Wicked for Good.
I don't believe you.
I don't either.
I don't believe you one bit. I don't think you
I
believe yourself.
No, that Thunderbolts trailer looks awful.
Ugh.
It looks awful. It's not even gonna be a movie. It's gonna be another one of the schlocky anti-horror or anti-hero
Like, I
movies.
think it
Probably
could
so.
be funny, you know what I mean? Like, there's gonna be the typical Marvel wittiness, back and forth, but I mean, that's it, you know?
What was the last funny Marvel movie?
Uh,
Point taken.
yeah.
All right. I'm just saying the whole Marvel is funny thing. It used to be a thing that, yeah, I mean, it was Thor: Love and Thunder killed it.
Yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder killed it because it made a mockery of the entire
Yeah.
rebuild of the character that they had gone for, that they had gotten over with crowd, and then Thor: Love and Thunder was like, we're just gonna make a straight up slapstick,
Yeah,
goofy movie.
like, I'm talking like the Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, like,
Yeah.
witty comeback type things, like that I miss that bad.
Well, let me tell you, Hunter, they backed up the Brinks truck and they're bringing
I
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, well, not in the same capacity though as
in
Iron
the
Man.
same capacity, but they're bringing him back because they want some of that too. What we miss, they also figured out that they miss.
Yeah.
EG,
Yes.
tonight,
Yes.
poker.
Yep.
You have a chance to win the poker season. It's a big step forward from where you were a year ago. What's your mentality going into tonight? And what are you thinking about? I mean, a lot of your competitors are up here at Disrupt Media.
Yeah, they are. It feels good. I am excited to play. I feel like it's one of those nights where I feel good going into it. I have some confidence. I know you feel the same way as well. And I'm out for blood.
Okay. I think that was actually my literal line that I was out for
Oh,
blood.
really?
I
I
think
thought
it
no, you
was.
said you were gonna be an
I
assassin.
was going to be an assassin,
Yeah,
stone
and that
cold
you
killer.
weren't gonna care who you killed.
That's
Yeah.
that's exactly what I said, jury. Um, so EG, I'm going to hold you to that standard that you set
Yeah,
because you could win the season.
I want to. I want to, and I feel like, having 2 medals to my name after tonight would be incredible.
Which one would hurt worse? Coming in second in the overall season or like middle of the pack overall season?
Oh, second would suck. First to lose in my book. Um, but honestly, after all the work I put in, no, I think second would hurt.
I have 3 championships. I finished second, I think, twice.
That's
And
awful.
I think more about the second place
Yeah,
finishes than I think about the 3
because it's so
championships. Ooh,
close.
so close
Yeah.
to glory. Hunter started off real hot in the poker
I
club,
did.
top 6.
Mhm.
Since then, you've been one of the first few out every time you've played. How do you change your course of your future tonight?
Gotta be more confident, especially with King 9, I gotta believe. So,
Gotta believe in
you
King
gotta
9.
believe. Yeah, I hope we're not at the same table because that scared me. Like, it's one of those, like, "No thanks, I choose life," type of things. So, yeah, we're gonna push the chips in
Can
and
you use the same voice and say Ross dress for less?
Ross dress for less.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
Wow.
Nailed it.
I did not know you had that in you.
Absolutely.
Nailed it.
Absolutely nailed it. Tyler, I'm gonna go see Mickey 17. I think. I think I'm gonna go see it. And I'm
Well,
not
be
too
sure
pumped.
to send me your out of the theater reaction so our shorts page isn't just filled with my ugly mug.
Absolutely. That has been we've gotten several emails and we apologize that only Tyler's ugly mug has been on the shorts page. We're gonna fix that though with my favorite thing that he did, by the way, is, and I'm not sure I can say this or else Tyler may get upset, but it's actually his fault that I'm saying this. But when he reviewed Mickey 17 in his short, he called it a bong hit. And I was like, and he worked it in very clearly. Like he
Yeah.
was proud of the way he worked it.
Yeah, it was a certified bong hit
It-
from Bong Joon-ho.
It made me chuckle.
Wow.
That
But
was a good one.
for all the grief he's given us over demonetization, really you,
Tyler.
really you.
That'd be a shame. That'd be a shame of today's show.
It didn't get demonetized
There you go.
Oh.
because I'm talking about Bong Joon-ho. He directed the movie.
Does YouTube know that?
You just
They
Okay.
do.
Say it one more.
Okay, EG's gone for the day. We appreciate it very much. Thank you so much for being a loyal and proud Meltdonian.
What did I say? What did I say that got us demonetized? Exactly what did I say?
So I can say it again and again.
Yeah.
Anyway, we appreciate EG being here today on today's episode. And we want to remind you about not EG, but MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag is where you need to head on over. That's our title sponsor. They have a sign-up bonus right now, a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. So you can try that out there when using promo code next round. Make sure you head on over to mybookie.ag and use that promo code next round for those bonuses. We appreciate Tyler. We appreciate Hunter. We even appreciate EG. We appreciate everybody who's been a part of today's production. We will keep you posted on the poker season. I'm sure it's going to get quite personal tonight. Thank you so much for being a loyal and proud Meltdonian, and we will see you again tomorrow, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern.